all have a story inside of us. I'd say everybody in this room has a story. You have a story inside of you.
I remember I didn't like sharing the fact that I was blind and albino, even though people could notice. I didn't want to talk to people about that. I'm like, they already know I'm an albino. I don't want to tell them that I'm blind. So I would pretend that I could see. And what that did for me was so awesome, because I was able to be functional and get around society, and I learned all sorts of ways to integrate into this world, into this society, and have most people not even realize that I'm blind, to the point where they don't even believe me, which is great. But there was a time not too many years ago where one of my best friends said to me, you're a liar. I said, what do you mean? He says, you're on stage and you talk about authenticity and you lie all the time to people by not telling them that you're blind. And I thought about that, and it was a good point, because what I realized is that a lot of my friends, close friends, they would eventually find out, and I would tell them the truth when they asked me a question, which would be a couple months into the relationship. But what would go through their heads is, how come he didn't tell me before? And why was he keeping this from me? And if he kept this from me, is there something else he might be keeping? And why didn't he want my support? And that's how society is. They have these questions because of what they see visually immediately, and they need that curiosity fulfilled.
I spoke my truth. I spoke my truth, and I realized, catch it, my lesson is if I wasn't sitting in peace, love, and hope, I would not have survived that stand. In fact, while his lawyer was trying to re-victimize me, oh, you're doing this for attention, you're doing this for money, you're doing this for this, and I said, Judge, you hear what she said? Whether or not he's found guilty, and I pointed right at him, I deserve peace, love, and hope. So everything went well. Family coming together, and the verdict is still not there. I still have to wait till July 4th on Independence Day.
It's something that I learned in school, Sunday school. Love is something, if you give it away, it comes right back to you. So sharing that wealth, and I think it was a wealth of love that actually had these people sharing with everyone. So for me, those 3 lessons that came out of that project was, 1, setting goals and be passionate about those goals, and having what I call guardians around you to help fulfill those goals. The next lesson is being determined and resilient, that if something knocks you down, you get right back up and get back into the game. The third piece for me was really that sharing piece. And it's very important, the sharing of the wealth. And the wealth doesn't necessarily have to be money. It can be knowledge. It can be time, whichever one makes you have to share.
I just felt like I was always different. And I kept looking in the mirror, asking the question, who am I? What does the world want me to be? I got frustrated. Even when the question comes up now, I'm so much cooler than I was before. It still bugs me. Can I not just be me? As far as I'm concerned, masculinity is energy. It's not a name, it's not a construct, it's not this thing you live up to. It's a joke when people point out what's masculine. Do you mean to tell me that sitting down with just a bunch of guys in a room, watching another bunch of guys pile on top of each other, wear tight pants, and pat each other on the ass, Sunday football, is that masculine? And every guy in that room, all they're doing is talking about guys? I'd much rather be in a room with mostly women, hanging out, talking, sharing, flirting. That's a hell of a lot better than sitting in a room full of guys on a Sunday afternoon watching a bunch of guys get on top of themselves in tight pants.
Now, nobody told me about back fat. Helen didn't tell me. Oprah didn't tell me. My mom sure as heck didn't tell me. So all you young girls out there, I'm telling you about back fat. It's gonna happen. Don't be surprised. Be ready for it. But it's not the end of the world. I mean, from buds to back fat, it's a long journey. And we all have different ups and downs, but we're all gonna go through it. But my main message for you is to be comfortable. And guys, I want you to appreciate what we go through. I mean, think about it. If cod pieces come back in style and they decide to put all that engineering on them, oh, you won't like that at all. So next time you see a woman in a push-up bra, go up and thank her.
It was a completely new concept for me that I could be in charge of my life, that I could be in the driver's seat instead of sitting in the passenger seat waiting what happens to me. So fast forward a little bit, what happened to my amazing career at Magna? By the end of 2006, I was asked to give a presentation about the retirement savings plan. I was quite nervous, especially when I saw that most of the executive team was there on this special day. I think I did a fairly good job, and I don't think I'm responsible for what happened 15 minutes later, because this was when our president told us that we wouldn't have a job by the end of the year. For me, this was a defining moment. This was the day in the fall of 2006 when I made the decision, I will not let it happen that anyone else will ever be in control of my life.
Now, under the premise of be careful what you ask for, 4 months later, I'm in Princess Margaret. You know, and stuff that I could do when I was 2.5. You know what I mean. Go to little boys' room, standing and sitting, I couldn't do by myself. I had to give it up to nurses to do. And every time I got a new nurse, I'd have to go, oh, I'm so sorry, you have to hold the bottle while I do this. And, you know, they said, Barry, this is what we do. Let us do our work. But I had to say it because my ego, oh, well, they have to hold my pee-pee and they have to hold the bottle. And it was like, you know, what if they can't find it? And oh, my God. It's like, oh, my God. But every time I had a new nurse, I gave the same. And every nurse said, would you shut up and let us do our job? It's okay. I said, yeah, but I can't imagine you went to 3 years of nursing school so you could hold some guy's pee-pee and wipe his butt. She goes, yeah, but that's part of the job, and we all love our jobs.